once I got to New York, I was like, cool, well, let me start something. I was thinking about like drop shipping, e-commerce, Amazon fulfillment, whatever it may be, blah, 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 blah.
There's so
right?
many.
A lot of business opportunities, like business opportunities. And I saw one ad that stood out to me. I was in the New York subway one night, like just going home, like this is 3 weeks into research, and started getting these ads, right? So a copy perfectly written towards me. It's like, we know you've been checking out Amazon fulfillment, affiliate marketing, so on and so forth. We tried them all. None of them work, right? But you know what does work? This one business model that's like the house of the casino. As long as you do it right, it'll never fail, right? I was like, I'm curious. The creative, I still remember the image on the ad. It was like of a card, like blackjack, right? It's like so I clicked on it. It's like name, email, phone number, and I put it in. Then I watched like a 30-minute video. It's a video sales letter by this couple named Jeff and Jessica Samus, and who I'm still friends with today. I expressed my gratitude this past year, and they're unbelievable. That was the most meaningful investment I had ever made. Once I had a conversation with them, I started digging in. I was like, how much does something like this cost? I wasn't going to jump on the sales call, but I didn't even know it was a sales call at the time. I had no fucking clue what I was doing as a bright-eyed student out of college.
It gets a bad rep sometimes too, I feel like, because people like us who've seen these ads for years and years and years and have actually, gotten a positive experience from something like that. A lot of people, and I know a lot of my listeners, they get a negative connotation right off the bat when they see these ads. They assume all ads are bad. Everything is, out to try to get you. Everything's a scam. Everything's bad. Like, how do you feel about that? Because if you've had a positive experience with it, was that your first, quote unquote, the first ad you clicked on, or did you go through anything prior to that?
I mean, I'm sure I click on other ads, right? I think that's primarily like a fear-driven response, right? To consider to shut everything out from the world and be like, hey, like that's a scam, that's a scam, that's a scam, right? It's like, that's not gonna work, that's not gonna work, that's not gonna work, right? It's like, because we as people, like oftentimes we get in our own way because it's kind of like we had a client that jumped on board with us a couple months ago. He was in a tough spot, right? It's like, and for him, he's been doing one thing for a certain way for so long, right? As many of us do, we're creatures of habit. We do one thing for so long, right? We live a life and we just don't really make any changes to it because change is scary. And on a call, he was like, I feel as though he was like selling himself short, right? It's like he was just, there's a saying that goes by Jim Quick. It's like, you fight for the limitations. When you fight for your limitations, you get to keep them. Right. So we tell all these stories for us, like why we can't do certain things, why we can't have certain things, why we can't be certain things, why this won't work, why this won't work, why that won't work, why that won't work. Right. It's like why it didn't work before, why it won't work in the future. Right. So we tell ourselves these lies, right, that gets in our own way for us to feel safe. Right. And for the client that we brought on, he, like on the call, I remember in a group coaching call, he's saying he's a little frustrated about how things weren't working. I was like, cool. Like, well, I made a recommendation. I was like, dude, like, I'm not going to say names. You're just going to do this, right? You got to do this, right? If you do this, it'll work, right? And on the call, he was like, okay, yeah, I'll do it. I was like, man, can I point something out? He's like, yeah. I was like, I'm not sold. He was like, and this is a group coaching call with other people on board, right? He was like, well, George, do you think I'm lying to you? It's like, or do you ever get the feeling that I'm bullshitting you? It's like, because what the term I used to say, I was like, I'm calling bullshit, man. This guy, I don't feel it. And when he asked that, I was like, sometimes. I was like, no, actually, no. I don't think you're ever bullshitting me. I think you're bullshitting yourself. I think you're telling yourself these things as to why it won't work for you. And therefore you'll find reasons as to why it won't work. Right. So for your listeners or whoever it may be, right. So we don't know what we don't know. Right. So when it comes to the things that are new, the things that are different, the things that are scary, oftentimes we bullshit ourselves. And when we look at these ads, we're like, oh yeah, that can't work. That's a scam. That's blah, 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 blah. But like, cool. You can choose to believe that if you think it serves you, but usually it doesn't. Right? It's like, because are there quote unquote bad players? It's like, I wouldn't even say they're bad. It's like everyone's just doing the best they can. But are there other people that are less credible and then people that are more credible? Of course, right? But does that mean like a blanket statement? That means like every ad is bad. Every person that's pushing a business opportunity is bad? No, of course not. And so, but oftentimes it's safer for us to block that out, to pretend as though those opportunities don't exist, for us to continue what we're doing currently, right? So we, even though things might be not going as well as we wanted to, at least it's what we know. It feels safe, right? So I think that's usually what happens when people are like, scam, right?
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. And, you know, and then you as someone who's running the ad, a lot of the time you're competing with I'm sure you have competitors with Gym Pillars. And a lot of the times you're running these ads and sharing ad space and fighting for the ad space against people that obviously you believe you have the best service in the industry, right? So you're running ads against these people. And then if someone has a bad experience with your competitor, that might just be one less client that's even possible, because if they get a bad experience with your competitor, they're gonna most likely pull out and never come back and never click on another ad, never go with another service.
100%, yeah. Because I mean, that's the thing with sales, right? Because like when let's say like any sales conversation, like a person's never walking in with a clean slate. Right? They walk in with the prior experiences and baggages and limitations and belief system that they walk into with, right? So 100%, yeah. It's like, I mean, and for us, like even when we're advertising, like for us, like, well, that's interesting you mentioned that, because it's not that we don't believe that we're the best, but it's just that we also understand that it's just different. The way we do things is different compared to the other person. So, but yeah, I definitely hear you. For sure, man. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's take people